Spitfire is behind them, and if you look way off to your right hand side now, you can see down there, that is the unmistakable shape of a Lancaster bomber. One of only 2 Lancaster bombers flying in the world today. The second one is out in Canada. A couple of years ago we were lucky enough for him to come over and visit, and we had 2 Lancasters on the same. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop talking now. Let's listen to the sounds of 4 Merlins and 1 Griffon engine from the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. Heads out over the Firth of Clyde, PA 474, one of only 2 Lancasters, as I said, remaining in worldwide. So in effect, the Second World War had finished, both in Europe and the Far East, and this aircraft was sitting in. Wiser heads had prevailed, and PA 474 was then allocated. You like the sound of a Griffon engine as well. So Spitfire Mark 19631 was built in Reading. It was delivered to Southampton in May of 1944. As I said, down near the Stem Village, you can go and visit the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight tent. They've got a from left to right again with the Spitfire line astern. Let's listen in to the flight deck of the Lancaster. choice of Squadron Leader Ernie Wise. I think they picked him for that job because he has got a 1945 voice, hasn't he? You can hear him ordering a couple. So he'll have a look at the water state. I'm sure he's going to be happy. He's going to be a lot happier than he was yesterday. It was really windy yesterday. He'll be happy to land in that. I should also mention that Hamish has a few passengers on board today. Now, they're not the fare-paying type of passengers. They're actually giraffes. And it's all part of a charity. And it's called Flying with Giraffes. And they're representing giraffes on tour, and what it does is the charity flies these toy giraffes in aircraft all over the world, from seaplanes as we see. The Red Arrows have had these giraffes on board, they're little toys. The BBMF have flown them, F-15s, F-35, even gone up in a U-2 aircraft. And what they do is they then auction off these flying giraffes, and all of the proceeds go to the Great Ormond Street Hospital charity. So have a look at their website. You can see if you want to bid for the flying giraffe that is aboard Hamish today. WeDram also operates seaplane safaris on Loch Lomond and Mull and Skye or beyond, and provides professional tourism niche that encourages visitors to come to Scotland. So a wonderful use of a very ubiquitous aircraft, like I said. There's 172s and then there's WeDram. WeDram, of course, was meant to be at last year's show, but unfortunately had a problem. They found some metal fragments in the engine, never a good sign, so some water as well. It's hard to believe, but there's only actually 5 UK registered seaplanes. Now in the UK there's about 30,000 flying machines and only 5 of them have floats, and only 3 of them are up here in Scotland. So this is only 3 aircraft you would see in Scotland. You'll notice on the supports as well, on the floats, WeDram is supporting 2 local air pistons here, the revetting cap, and can slow the aircraft down, and of course as much as you can go into wind, pulling back on the power, keeping your tail up, and there you go. Now there's a thing on those floats called a step. You don't want to go below the step because it sort of sucks you down. So he wants to keep the nose up now and the power up. He's not doing a landing, he's just doing a touch and go, keeping the nose of the amphibious floats still off the step. Good use of power, and there you go. I can hear them applying the power now and gently lifting on. About a 5-10 degree pitch nose up attitude, and gently pressing away, building up your airspeed. When you're in that transition from the set into flight, there's a thing called the ground effect, and that really does help. So you want to keep. They're going to be, these ducks are going to be auctioned, or were auctioned off and raised £8,000 for UNICEF. And there we go again, another flawless landing from Hamish. Keep the power up. Normally this is where he just let the power back, let the nose of the aircraft sink, but now he's going to keep that aircraft going. He looks about 70-80 knots there, I'd say, and you can see them start to come unstuck, and there you go, you're into ground effect. Keep that going for as long as you can, build up your airspeed, and then gently pull that onto. What an amazing display, fantastic. And when you think about it, it's really the new amphibious flight that makes it far more flexible. So head down to Prestwick Flight Centre, and they'll be very happy to let you know.
Oh, they just told me it might be a little bit longer, so let's just keep an eye on them. So as well as guiding the team members, the coach must ensure that he doesn't lose sight of the landing area and the two coloured crosses. In very strong wind conditions, the release can be up to 2.5. Lower countries! That's there! I mean, it's hard when they come down. Oh, there we go! And 925 on there for Paul's party, ladies! The right foot turning from their left is created by roll passers attached to their boots, which were activated at the very last moment before jumping from the aircraft. We can see all 8 canopies safely deployed as the team immediately begin maneuvering into the snake formation. For 2025, the team has been working on a dynamic routine over the winter months, and we hope you enjoy the visual spectacle as much as the thought is enjoy flying it. They have built a snake formation by turning 180 degrees back up to the position. To make the split formation, the team will separate with all numbers going left and even numbers going right at an angle of 90 degrees. The coach will then call for a further 90 degrees round themselves, creating 2 separate snake formations. This leads straight into the crisscross, where both sides of the formation will turn towards each other with closing speeds of over 45 miles an hour, and then pass within a few feet of each other. They immediately make a turn into the very dynamic signature carousel formation, which is the team's favourite manoeuvre and requires vast amounts of concentration and trust in one another. This is a perfect opportunity to get your photos. Remember to tag at RFOK. You may see 2 members of the team floating outside the carousel. There are flag bearers today, so it's deliberate that they're doing that. So the final formation of the display before landing today is the Sabre Cage. You will see the team essentially forming another snake, but this time with dynamic left and right turns to position themselves for the landing pattern into the arena.
right now, ladies and gentlemen, just bending around, coming in from the right. It's the Strike Master pair. That made them very, very tough, and they gained a reputation coming back from the battlefield with a lot of damage, but still pliable. Now the aircraft also, because of the extra power, meant it could carry more guns. A variety of armaments, 2 machine gun pods, up to 4 500-pound bombs. At the time they had a rocket called the Sura rocket that carried 32 of them, or it could mix it up, it could have bombs and rockets. In Horden, North Wales, near Chester. That aircraft was imported by Mark Prestwick back in 2004 from Oman. And today it really is an immaculate condition. You're going to have to get up close to it. One under the fuel tank on the inboard wing pylons, and that also supplies the smoke system. Now let's have a look at that smoke system as it comes through. Lovely slow roll in formation. The other aircraft, the brown and green one, that's Golf Romeo Sierra Alpha Foxtrot, and that's a Mark 80A, and that also is owned by NW. So that's an aircraft engineering company employing local professionals, and they maintain a broad range of light aircraft and military jets. They're considered as world experts in Strike Masters. Prior to joining the Royal Air Force, Ian was a keen PPL, also flew one glide at time, and after completing university he served as an ORF pilot for 13 years, including Tornado and the Balkans. Sean's Jaguar tour was split by a 3.5-year term with the Red Arrow. All over the world, flying many types of aircraft, from microlight, gliders, trainers, even rotary, helicopters, multi-engine transport. He flew a Chinese-built MiG-21, flown the F-16, the Mirage F-1, DC-10. You can even do some of these maneuvers. Imagine pitching up, sitting in the right seat, get ready for the break. Cadets as well is one of the largest providers of the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme and offers a range of adventure activity. Do a slow roll there. Now he's positioning the aircraft to come back in, run from a right to left. It makes it so easy as he pitches the aircraft up into a loop and out the other side. As I said, you can see when the aircraft pitches up, the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund art on the belly of the aircraft. It's been there since 2022 to celebrate this fantastic charity. Unique yellow and black shooter was originally a trial paint scheme to provide that high contrast, but now on the face. The Royal Air Force shooter display team. go, we saw Bob's skillful coordination of elevator, rudder and aileron, pointing this aircraft exactly in the right direction at all times. And there he goes, a little wing wave from him as he waves goodbye. He's going to park on the right hand side. Huge thank you to Bob and all of the Royal Air Force here today. And as I said, they do have a presence down in the lower green, so if you want to pop along, they have a little chalet over there given away. Now you probably had a good look at the undercarriage there and you're thinking, is that undercarriage up or is it down? It looks like it's sort of halfway up and down, and that's exactly what it is. It's designed like that, it's not stuck. It looks like it's sort of stuck, so it means that if you do land with the gear, forgetting to select gear down, it does help the wings survive. John Windover, as I said, a long time air show and display pilot with a lot of experience in piston aerobatics. Good thing about this trainer as well, it's a two-seater trainer. The pilot under instruction normally sits in the front with the instructor sitting at the back. It's not the most roomy cockpit to be in, but certainly the cloth cap stop banging their head on the inside of the cockpit. Chinko radial engine, what's called an M14P. 360 horsepower radial engine. In America they're very popular and they tend to swap out the Chinko engine because it's hard to get. Over 1800 were built around the world and very, very popular, continuing in Romania. Assistance available. So if you're thinking of getting into warbird flying, you could not do worse than the Yak 52. So you've got to have a lot of upper body strength, especially in the high-speed maneuvers, because the ailerons and the elevator are quite large. That's what gives you that nice crisp roll rate that we saw there. And for the final time, big thanks to John Windover and his Yakalov 52. There he goes with his wing wave. You saw that lovely blue turtle shell paint scheme underneath the aircraft. That's very common with Russian aircraft in particular. Normally that theme is carried through on the inside of the aircraft. A lot of Russian aircraft. Pete Davies. And this auto gyro. Now you'll notice something as well, that because it is unique, relatively slow moving type of aircraft, he can come a little bit closer to us. So he has gone over the yellow line that was set out there, the display line, and he's allowed within 75 meters of us. He's got a varied career, a very notable career. He was first gold in Fulbright, the first gold medal awarded for his achievements in the microlight. He was fourth in the first World Microlight Championship. He's the FAI World Distance Record in his category. Still stands to this day. He won the 1994 Round the World Air Race in a Tiger. Cessna basically with a 150 engine. To the FAI First World Air Games as well, which is like the Olympics for aviation, attaining fourth in the World Series of Long Distance Navigation. And Pete has flown virtually every type of flying machine, from hang gliders, Wessex helicopters, the world's largest biplane, 40 Antonov AN2, And he has an ambition. He told me he wants to fly, he's the first person to fly across the English Channel, but using the Channel Tunnel. Because he reckons that he should squeeze this into the Channel Tunnel and fly through it. So good luck with that. Just because he saw on that Tom Cruise movie, and they got a few 500 in there. And as you can see, it's a very stable aircraft. Keep just wagging the controls. Look at the rudder at the back. You can see it moving from left to right, very responsive. Now the rotor blade you see on, and the air flows through the rotor blades, and it gives free lift. Engine, the Rotax engine is actually powering the propeller at the back, and that's what's pushing him forward. It's what's called a pusher configuration. And as you can see, very, very responsive. And look at Pete waving his hand. Give him a wave back as he waves his finger. Always good to see. Over 1,000 of these aircraft were made and sold worldwide. Considering this aircraft was designed back in 1923. 1923. That was only 20 years after the Wright brothers get the air flowing through it. It will continue for many, many years to come. Super safe as well, even as that Rotax engine comes, you've got a finish stored in the rotor blade, and you can land it like a helicopter. It's practically, well, it is impossible to stall the aircraft because it will slowly drift down. As long as you pitch the aircraft down and keep some air flowing over the blades, you are good to go. So really, you could say this was connected, but it was a good idea. Now watch as Pete brings the aircraft up, getting a bit of height, and then twirling all the way down, using the rudder as he spirals descends, building up all that energy in the rotor blade. The rotor blade's flat now, so it's bleeding off the energy, but he'll pitch the aircraft up, engage the Rotax and come straight towards us. And not only is Pete cleared for, it's extremely controllable. You can do some crazy flying in it. Pete is using his feet to use the rudder. The control column in front of him. You can go between 0 and 120 miles an hour in the aircraft. And get ready for a little bow, get your cameras ready. It's going to pitch the aircraft up, go into a hover, and then slowly drop the nose. There you go, nose pitch up, and thank you very much, sir. And exit left. Control the line, he's going to exit right. Makes sense, heading down to the airport. It's that way, it's not that way. There's that hand again, give him a wave. So as Pete heads back, we're going to be coming up to our next item on the flying display list. It's the Sydney Charles Aviation Display Team, also known as Airborne Pyrotechnics. So Golf Foxtrot Indio X-Ray, there's the Sydney Charles Aviation Services branding, and the other aircraft, Golf Oscar Sierra Papa X-Ray. They actually have two other aircraft in the team, the Twister aircraft and Grog Twin 2. And today we'll be seeing these two aircraft. Now, here we go. Smoke is on. This is smoke canisters. This is not smoke coming from their engines or generated from the exhaust. This is the smoke canisters, and also this is their take on the heart that we will see later on from the red arrows. But as you can see, the wind at height is quite lively, so it's blowing the heart back. They will come around and do their best. Tim and Tom. Beetle engine. It's a 4-cylinder, horizontally opposed air-cooled, direct-dive piston engine. Just about 2.5 litres. And a massive output of 25 to 100 horsepower. So watch now as they pitch the aircraft down, smoke on the wings, and into a brake. So if you were here last night, you would have seen fireworks coming off the aircraft, pyrotechnics section. Today we've got the smoke being generated by smoke pods on the end of the wings. Also really helps them when they're coming back together. Good visual reference for both Tim and Tom to line themselves up on each other. And as I said, only about 100 horsepower, 2,500 revs. It's got a variable pitch propeller, Hoffman. But that 100 horsepower engine means they're very, very economical in the cruise. To get up to height, then drift down, go find the next thermal uprising, and this is what you would see a glider traditionally do, as it would be climbing, but because they're using their engine here, they're keeping that nice and tight. What a wonderful display of precision flying. And I cannot emphasize enough the benefits of going gliding. I personally did a lot of gliding before I got into powered aircraft, and it really does teach you some great habits. It teaches you the basics of flight, obviously pitch, roll, yaw. So when you come to pay big bucks for something with an engine, you already have do some gliding first. It's a lot cheaper, and it also gives you, do I want to carry on flying? Yes, because look what you can do in a glider. Look at that, what a beautiful maneuver. And it's back out into a loop. These aircraft are designed and manufactured by Buchart Grob, and they were made back in the early 80s. And Grob is like the world's best producer of gliders. Obviously, the gliding is very, very popular in Europe, around the Alps. The aircraft is also used by the RAF Air Cadets under the name the Ballast. And unusual in gliders, side-by-side seating. That's very good for instruction. Instructors always want to see what the pilot under instruction is doing with his hands. If you can sit beside him, it's a lot better than sitting behind him where you can't actually see where his hands are going. During this display, as you can see there, the aircraft, when it's pitching down, it is picking up a lot of speed, and it's got a maximum speed of 133 miles an hour. But if you're just in a cruise, you're talking about 110 miles per hour. Stalls out at about 46 miles an hour, which is because of that big long wing. It gives you lots of lift at low speed, and even the stall itself is just a sinking feeling. It doesn't pitch down violently. And because of that very fugal engine and high lift wing, you can actually go flying in this aircraft for 6-7 hours. These aircraft have been heavily modified, as I said. They've actually got LED lighting built into the fuselage, and as we see now, the smoke system. And at night, they strap on the pyrotechnic packs. They don't live on there all the time. of the aircraft is disturbed, blowing away, but thankfully today it's blowing away from us. Yesterday we had an on-prow wind, and today thankfully it's off-prow. Makes it a little bit easier for the pilots to fly. The top is slotted in very nicely underneath the bottom. You can see a lot of inputs on the controls there as well. You can see how Tom is fighting that wing as he comes around the corner. The upside of having a big wing, as I said, is lots of glide. The downside of it is if you turn a big wing into wind, it's going to act like a sail, and it's going to want to push you whichever direction the wind is going. So you've got to counteract that with the ailerons. That's exactly what Tom is doing. He's tucked in behind. Father Tim in the lead. He flies the set pattern, and it's up to Tom to follow it. He'll have picked the spot on that aircraft. When I did formation flying, I used to bring a little sticky with me, and I'd pick a point. Tim and Tom Jews will be heading straight off from here. And I have to say, Tim Jews in particular is my favourite display pilot here at the Ayr Show. I'm not saying that because he bought me a pint last night at the bar and he was the only one that did, but Tim, you're my favourite. Pratt & Whitney engine is coming from the tips of the propellers as they go supersonic. The Royal Navy historical flight to Harvard. It's a pretty bulky aircraft as well. So this is why it was so critical in teaching pilots how to fly aircraft that were far more powerful. It taught them to respect the airspeed indicator. And that is the thing that your visibility is definitely not great on the ground. And as you can see in this yellow livery, the American Navy also trained their pilots in Harvard. And during the Second World War, the majority of flight training was produced over in Canada, where the Canadians used them en masse. So your flight training would start on injected, so that means when you're going airborne and you're going upside down, you do not want to hang around upside down for very long in a Harvard, because that engine will cut out. Basically, it's the fuel that you've got in the car. It's stocky, and it could take a lot of damage regularly, not from guns or other aircraft flying it. Obviously, hard landings was one of its stock trade, and if you ever see a Harvard on the ground, you'll think it's like an aircraft carrier aircraft, because it's got very short, stubby little undercarriage. So that was to help with the punching undercarriage damage that used to happen to it regularly. This is just one of many aircraft they keep alive down there in Yeovilton, doing a fantastic job. Now watch on a slow roll the aircraft around in a barrel roll. And there you go, that's a perfect example of that rasping engine noise, but it's not, it's the tip of the propeller. He runs the aircraft in, good now. Watch it pitches the aircraft up into the vertical. Now my fuel's running out my carburetor. I definitely don't want to be upside for too long, and then it'll pull it right back around, back into the right envelope. There's only one other harbour that I know that's in private hands, being operated in the UK. This harbour, as I said, so have a look at the Royal Navy Historical Trust website if you're interested in the other aircraft. Like I said, they have the Swordfish down there, they're working on a Seafire, and all of that is done through donation. Unlike the BBMF, it's not part of the government Royal Navy, although they do operate out of the Royal Navy Air Station Yeovilton. Low pass as he comes through. His Navy heritage showing there, connected to the water. So for the last time, coming from our left-hand side, before he heads on back to refuel before his flight back to Yeovilton. Royal Navy Historical Flight and the Harvard. Ooh, that sounds good, doesn't it? As I said, these Invaders powered by those mighty Pratt & Whitney 2800 double wasp rated engines. In its various versions, it can carry a bomb load up to about 6,000 pounds internally, inside. And it wasn't long before these aircraft turned up in Europe. They were beloved by their crew. They took over from the B-26, the Marauders, and carried out tactical strikes. Now it's trying to see if he was going to roll it, but not. He just keeps it up into knife edge and pulling away. And in Korea, it really excelled at night intruder missions, hunting enemy convoys, rail traffic as well. And with those 50 calibers on the nose and long endurance, it became a feared and highly urgency missions. And the aircraft went through another modernization service. This time it's got updated avionics and extra firepower. So there really is very few aircraft that have gone through 3 wars. Still a few years ago, you'd still see them doing that duty. They'd be used as what are called marker aircraft, that would come in and lay down a marker line for the bigger transport aircraft on top there, firefighter retardant on it. It's a very special aircraft. I'm very pleased to see it here today. Sheer presence. Those long, sleek. This aircraft is based out Normal crew consists of about 3. You've got a pilot, a navigator, and a bombardier / gunner. I'm pretty sure it's just 2 crews today. As I said, it was a true multi-long. So for the first time, our visitors from the Canadian Air Force, from your left, ladies and gentlemen, the C-130J. Aircraft, Major Jeff Fontaine. Fantastic name. You can see the doors open at the rear. Unfortunately, I didn't bring my binoculars, so I can't see if anybody's leaning out. They normally lean out and wave. Ladies and gentlemen, straight ahead, it's the Royal Navy Black Cats. So Flight Lieutenant Tom joined the Royal Navy back in 2010 as direct entry pilot. Watch as he pitches the aircraft up. The aircraft is brake conduct. It's doing a 360 wing over, another 360 degree turn. Take position in crowd center. Now they're going to demonstrate the aircraft power and agility. Run the nose over and come back down before repositioning. Back into crowd center and into a little bit of what they call hover work. Going into the hover. Now they're going to rapidly once more climb up to 500 feet. But this time, as they start climbing up, get ready for a rotation as they do a 360 degree pedal turn as they climb. And there you go, he's putting up on the collective. Aircraft rising. Heading up towards 500 feet. Pitch the nose down. And rotate out. That's called a nose over. And again, they're going to bring the Wildcat back into crowd center. flight training. He streamed in to fly the Wildcat. He's deployed on numerous missions in the Middle East. Played a key role in both maritime security and counter call constantly with any maritime terrorism. Tom is now a pilot instructor of the Operations Conversion Unit, training the latest generation of Wildcat aircrew in the art of maritime strike. Ross, here on see here we're using pedals. Back up to 500 feet, 360-degree pedal turn as they climb. Now watch as he goes to crown center. He's going to do another nose over. He's going to dip the aircraft down. Get the airplane over the rotor. Transition from the hover, forward flight. There he goes, pitching over. Good shot, get your cameras. Now he's going to roll through 360 degrees and then going to come back into crown center. Now, be sure to give a wave to the flight observer and then the flight commander of the frigates. He's also been on the Queen Elizabeth class aircraft carriers and the HMS Prince of Wales. He did a short stint in the Staff Office School as an aviation advisor to operations commanders and returned to flying as you can see today in his current role as a senior observer of the Wildcat Maritime Forces Frontline Squadron 815 Naval Air Squadron. He wants to say hello to Granddad and Uncle Michael. And now coming from the left, here comes the Merlin. Hotel number Zulu Hotel 847. As I said, it can cruise at about 175 miles an hour. Maximum endurance about 3 hours. And typically it will be crewed up with 2 pilots, 1 observer and 1 air crewman. See that big dome underneath the cockpit there? That is a radar. It's called blue. You can see the blades and the tail as well. When it lands on frigates and carriers, that whole tail section hinges, and you can see the hinge halfway down. And you can fold it underneath the blade. So that saves a lot of space. Of course, going to be instructed out of our Dewberry. Also on board is Lieutenant James Wagstaff, observer, for a tour on he was originally on Type 45 destroyers. Also Petty Officer Andy Butler. He's a sensor operator and the expert sub-detector. Or as I said earlier, he's a pinger. But behind him there's a massive team. Lieutenant Paddy Docker and 10 engineers. These gentlemen and the whole team have been deployed since May, embarked on RFA Flying Force and operating from here at HMS Cannon. And they've been supporting the defence strategic objective 1, which is the defence of the nuclear deterrent, in other words submarines. And they've been on exercise Green Eel and Cable Car, and they're going to be returning to Colorado and all of the crews, flight crews and the crews on the ground would like to say a huge thank you for their families, those deployed, and they're really looking forward to going home and seeing their loved ones soon. Thank you all, sir. Thank you all for your service. Right, now watch as the Merlin goes into a hover. And as I've just been told by my flight spray director, Celeste Viti, it is indeed the Junior that is being put out the door. So, on the end of the rope, it's not a rope, I'm sure it's something highly sophisticated, is the Petty Officer Andy Butler. He is air crewman, sensor operator, and as his name suggests, as I said, when you're hunting submarines and you're doing it on the radar, you're called a pinger. But this time, they've put him outside, and there is Andy. Give him a wave. He's pinning away for you and me. Now, I'm just checking, they're not going to dump him in there. And you can see the massive downdraft from that rotor disc. So Petty Officer Andy Butler, are they going to pull away from him? And then if you look in the door, that's Lieutenant James Wagstaff, his first tour on the Merlin, as I said. Came over from Type 45 destroyers. They're reeling him in as they're bringing the aircraft down to meet him. I guarantee you he's getting a lot of spray though. Look how much spray has been kicked up by the downdraft, so he might as well be in the water at that. But thankfully they're hoisting him in at the last moment. Lieutenant James Wagstaff on the winch, and he's safely back in the door. He'll pull him back in and close the door. Wonderful display. So, as I said, their primary role is for hunting submarines, but they can do search and rescue like that, so they have got a use for the winches as well. They'll get him back in, unhook him. They can greatly reduce the footprint of the aircraft. Cruises at about 160 knots as well, which is, for such a big aircraft, or a big helicopter, that is a very fast speed. But with 3 turbine jets on board, not surprising. As I said, this is a Mark II. Now watch as he pitches the aircraft up and just does some hover work, as they call it. Climbing a little bit as well. You'll notice a lot of bars on the side of it as well. That's part of the anti-submarine works. So for the final time, ladies and gentlemen, the Royal Navy Merlin Mark II. The Navy exits right, I'm going to hand the microphone swiftly over to Squadron Leader Graham Muscat from the Royal Air Force Red Arrows.
One. Red One is in his second year as team leader. He was previously in Reds 2 to 9 for 5 years before coming back to join the team as the team leader in 2024. And that's scored only John Bond, known as Bondy, former Typhoon pilot, former qualified flying instructor on the Tucano, where he was the display pilot in 2012. The team have now moved into 9 Arrow. The smoke comes on from the right. Once again, it's the Red Arrow. On the right hand side of Red 1 is Red 2, Flight Lieutenant Rob Thomas. Rob is in his first year on the team. Uniquely, he was taken from training and made straight into an instructor on the Hawk Team Mark 1. Before then completing his own training, joining the Typhoon Force, having served on operations over Iraq and Syria with 11 Squadron, before then becoming an instructor on 29 Squadron, all based at RAF Coventry in Lincolnshire. You now see that centre section move forward. It's actually the wings of the formation moving rearwards as we form the widest and largest shape that we fly in 2025. Red 1 continues to bring them around from the left. The smoke comes on in the Swan. Once again, he pulls off at over 400 miles per hour, showing the expertise of the pilot, looping in formation. Not only that, to make it a bit more difficult, we change shape from Swan into Shuttle as Reds 8 and 9 collapse inwards. The aircraft reaching a height of over 5.5 to 6,000 feet, once again slowed down to only 120 miles per hour. Those inputs on the control column being a lot less and then the aircraft starts to increase their speed back down to 200, 300, back to 400 miles per hour before Red 1 brings them around to the left. Red 1 makes the call once again, and that's either left and right start to make themselves move rearwards to form the shape of one of the most iconic aircraft in aviation history. Red 1 continues to come in from the left hand side. The smoke comes on in the Concorde. On the left-hand side of that centre section is Red 3, Flight Lieutenant Andrew McEwen, known as Macca. Macca is also in his first year at the team. He flew the Avi-8B, which is a Harrier variant, while on exchange with the United States Marine Corps, before then coming back to the UK and joining the world-famous 617 Dambuster Squadron based at RAF Marham in Norfolk, where he flew the latest 5th-generation Royal Air Force aircraft, the F-35B Lightning II. The aircraft start to move once again. Reds 2 and 3 move forward. The rear section form the delta wing. You'll see the aircraft later on today. It's the 20th anniversary of the Royal Air Force Typhoon display team. And therefore, in a celebration of such an anniversary, from the right hand side, this is Typhoon. All the way at the back of that formation, on the right hand side is Red 4 squad leader Chris McCann. He's working extremely hard, having to look through the formation at Red 1 because we take all our formation references from Red 1 and not necessarily the aircraft that's immediately on the inside of us. Chris is in his second year on the team, and again he was taken from training to make the main, but these days we have a unique capability with both space and cyber. And to celebrate that unique capability, the aircraft has now moved into a spacecraft shape representing space. This is Apollo. There are actually 11 pilots in the Red Arrow. You've got Reds 1 through 9 displaying Red 10, former Tornado GR4 pilot, former qualified flying instructor on the Hawk Team Mark II. And we have Red 11 Wing Commander Adam Collins, former Red 10, former Tornado pilot. I'm in my 4th and final year on the team, and he is also in his 3rd and final year on the team. Red 8 and 9 move left and right. Red 6 and 7 split in the rear as Red 1 continues to bring them around to our left. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get your cameras ready. A fantastic photo opportunity for the colourful Big Vixen. Personnel, 120 there are the engineers, the logisticians, the public relations, the administrators, and they are known as the Blues, due to the colour of their blue flying coverall. And of course there are a number of Blues here today at our public relations tent on the showground, so please pop along, have a word with them, find out about their careers in the Royal Air Force today, and also their role. Right hand side, it's tornado time! Reds 8 and 9, roll goes. Reds 8 and 9, roll around the rest of the formation. But watch for the colour change as Red 1 brings them down the line. It's the 2025 Red Arrow. As we go into the second half, we start in the same way as last year because it was so popular. Get your cameras ready. It's the 5-4 split. In the second half, we operate in 2 distinct sections. Off to the left-hand side, you've got Reds 1 through 5, known as Enid, named after Enid Blyton's famous fries from the children's books. Off to the right-hand side, you've got 6, 7, 8 and 9, known as Hannah, named after squad leader Ray Hannah, one of the first members of the Red Arrows. He's the only team leader to lead the team for 4 years. He took the team from a 7-ship to a 9-ship and formed our world-famous Diamond 9. Enid from the left, Hannah from the right, for the colourful 5-4 cross. Keep your eye on Enid to the right hand side as they remain on show centre. Red 5 starts to move in to sit behind Red 1, and Red 4 sits in trail on the rest of Enid. Number 4, roll go. The aboard call is made by number 4 as he rolls around the smoke of Enid. Sitting in behind Red 1 is Red 5, Flight Lieutenant Dustin Wells, known as Dusty. Second year on the team, he's originally from Zimbabwe, he's a former Typhoon pilot. Having flown with 11 Squadron, he's also an instructor on 29 Squadron and also a test pilot on 41 Squadron, all based at RAF Coventry in Lincolnshire. Enid leads to our right hand side. Look directly to your front. You're looking for the nose line. Synchro, get your cameras ready for the Hannah break. Red 6 and 8 to our left hand side, red 7 and 9 to our right hand side. Hannah and the synchro pair are led by the synchro leader. That's red 6 to our left hand side. Squad leader Tom Hansford. Tom is a Scottish boy originally from Aberdeenshire. He's a forward down to approximately 100 feet. They've got a closing speed of over 900 miles per hour in the manoeuvre called the Hannah Pass. The manoeuvre called the boomerang. Turning the boomerang into the cyclone. From the left hand side at over 500 miles per hour is red 9. He lines up with the inverted V to perform the goose. Red 9 climbing high, smoking blue is flight attendant Ollie Sublin. Formation is still PLT, a former Scottish tornado Osborne pilot, former qualified flight instructor on the Hawk Team of 2. Enid leads to our left hand side. Look directly to your front. Once again, you're looking for the synchro pair. Nose like the smoke comes on. They part to perform the world famous synchro heart. Coming in from the top right hand side is Red 8 as he speeds the heart. Red 8 is flight attendant Rich Walker. Third and final year of the team, a very experienced pilot, having flown Harrier and Typhoon, and also been a qualified flying instructor on the Hawk Team Mark 2. Let's give the synchro pair a massive round of applause for a wonderful heart in the skies of air. But the show's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Keep your eye on the synchro pair. They'll turn back towards the display line. They'll be back down at that 100 feet. Another fantastic photo opportunity for the vertical break. Turn hard away from each other in the circus. Each aircraft now turning away, pulling hard up to 6G. That means everything about them is now weighing 6 times heavier than what you and I as we stand on the promenade. Red 7 smoking red, red 6 smoking blue. They pass at the back, red becomes blue, blue becomes red. Now red 7 on our left hand side, smoking blue. He's keeping an eye on red 6, getting that Mr. in the sky in the Serpent. Another great opportunity to see our red, white and blue. And as I said, today's smoke is 100% environmentally friendly smoke. And that smoke pod is only capable of producing 5 minutes of white smoke, 1 minute of blue smoke and 1 minute of red smoke, with each of the colours having its own button on the pilot's control column. And during winter training, both Red 1 and Red 6 come up with the smoke plans to ensure we have the right colour smoke at the right time in the display, and we simply do not run out. Red 2, 3. Keep looking to your left, keep looking to your right. You've got red 6 and 9 from the left, red 7, 8 from the right. Red 6 and 9 roll inverted for the first of our new 2029 inverted for up to 30 seconds. They're working extremely hard against that negative G, all the blood rushing to their head. Conversely, 6 and 9 now roll the correct way up. They turn that negative G back to positive G. All the blood now rushing from the head all the way down to their feet. 2 and 3 roll goes. Red 2 and 3 roll to the outside. Clear goes. Red 4 and 5 roll to the outside. In one of the hardest maneuvers for our new pilots and Alaska each year. This is the rollbacks. 9 roll around the smoke in the second of our newest manoeuvres for 2025. You can see 6, you can see 8, you can see 9 hiding in the smoke of Red 6 is Red 7 in the Tempest. Once again, Red 6 to the left, Red 7 to the right. 8 aircraft will pull up to roughly 1,000 to 1,500 feet. As the synchro pair leads to a break, once again, look all the way distance to the front. And here come the synchro pair to complete the palm split, because ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honour and a pleasure. Please put your hands together for the 2025 Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team. Red 1 puts his smoke on, he'll gather the entire formation, take them back to Prestwick Airport. We'll refuel the airplane, we'll put our smoke back in, get ourselves ready. We'll be taking off around about 6:30 to get ourselves over to Newcastle, ready to refuel the aeroplane, get ourselves ready for the Great North Run Flypast and display tomorrow after the afternoon. As said, it's been an honour and a pleasure to report for you back here at Ayr Show 2025.
Coming in now from your left, from the United States Air Force, the Hercules C-130J from the Kentucky Air National Guard. So this aircraft you see before you is a C-130J Hercules, known as the Herc. It's the longest continuously produced aircraft in history, with original production from the Lockheed Company way back in 1954. Now, as this Hercules makes a bank off to the left, it's going to prepare for a run-in to do something very, very special and very rare, which we don't see very often at all in the UK, and it is going to dispense its flares. Now, the flares are M206 infrared flares. It comes in. Just waiting to get across the boats before we do that. But we can't dispense the flares over the boats. Here we go, pulling up. And there we go. One flare. And away they go, dispensing the flares. Those flares are deployed by the C-130J as countermeasures to be able to deploy and to be able to confuse potential ballistic missiles which may look on the aircraft as a way to protect and defend itself. So the very rare to see that here, you don't often get to see that at all. Now, the aircraft in 70 years has continued to demonstrate its brilliant design as the most versatile aircraft in history. Serving as a gunship, an airborne firefighter, an ambulance, a weather reconnaissance platform, and private transport. The C-130 has been delivered to most every nation in the Western world. The C-130 service in the Royal Air Force only recently concluded unimproved runways, roadways, and even beaches to deliver cargo across the globe. She is also capable of airdrop, delivering most at any location. But most notably, the C-130 is the preferred delivery vehicle for humanitarian airlift, providing relief anytime and anywhere. And look at that, isn't that absolutely phenomenal? Look at that, that's very rare, everybody. We don't often see that at all at air shows in the UK. Absolutely superb. And Josh, who is the captain, Josh Ketterer is the captain of this particular aircraft today, who's been exceptionally excited to do that and bring that to air. He's been looking forward to that for a very, very long while. Now this aircraft is operated by an 165th airlift. So, as Josh passes for the very last time, the 168th wish to thank our friends in Ayr and Prestwick for inviting them to participate in the Ayr flight. The Scottish hospitality will continue to deliver as world class, and we are very thankful for their partnership. And there he goes, the wing whip. So Ayr, give it up for Josh, the C-130J from the United States of America. And if you look at the back there, the ramp is open. So they're waving to you now from the United States Air Force C-130J.
It is amazing. Get ready for some world-class aerobatics, freestyle. So as the aircraft goes up into the vertical, already he's what we call stirring the cockpit, moving the control column around, working his feet and into a wing over. Tell me, who's at the controls, Anthony?
So at the controls, this is Bryce, Captain Denis, my teammate. He's a former Mirage 2000 fighter pilot. He has more than 3,500 flight hours. He joined the team 7 years ago, so he's quite experienced pilot, and he's competing in the advanced competition aerobatics.
Now the Extra 330 is the latest version of the Extra aircraft, designed by Willy Extra, Germany. Ooh, outside negative G. Now you have positive G that pushes you down into the aircraft, but what he just did there was negative G, which is horrible because it pushes all your bodily fluids up through your chest and into your brain, and it feels like your head's going to explode. Does he do a lot of that?
Yeah, a lot. And yesterday he told me during the display he had something like -9 Gs during that kind of turn.
Yeah, that really is very, very fitness at its most. Now watch as you can see this Extra 330 tumbling through the air. The Extra 330 is specifically built for this type of flying. It's incredibly light. It's got a low Lycoming 540 engine or a 560 on board, producing a huge amount of power. It's got more power than the aircraft weighs. That's why you can do these maneuvers.
Yes, exactly. The engine has 315 horsepower and its weight is less than 600 kilos. So it has a power to weight ratio over than 1. Basically, it can fly like a chopper, you know, with the torque and the engine. And then it's completely black.
Luckily I didn't go completely black. I uploaded it, but and it comes on a lot quicker than you think it does as well. So the Extra 330, as we can see, is incredibly good at rolling. 4-point hesitation roll, and that is because it has these massive ailerons. Tell us about them.
Yes, the aileron is something like 80% of the trailing edge of the wing, which is huge compared to regular aircraft. On standard aircraft, the aileron is something like 20% of the trailing edge.
Now watch as Rich pushes the aircraft up into the air, and he'll just slowly pull back on the power. Now this is all about using the power, that Lycoming engine. A little bit of a torque roll going on there as well. So it's the torque of the engine keeping the spin going, and then he pushes the aircraft over on its back and then tumbles back down in a flat spin. Mon Dieu!
Your French is really good, Joey.
Yes, I miss Brexit. I'm still with French. You can drive it on the road, but really it's meant to be on the racetrack. And I consider this the Caterham of flying, because yeah, of course you can fly from A to B in it, but it's really at its home doing this, just launching itself into impossible situations. And no fly-by-wire here, there's no computers on board, it's all about cables, isn't it?
Yes, basically there's nothing in the aircraft. No heating, no air conditioning, no assistance. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, -1.
-1, so are we going to call it 12 or 13? We could call it 14.
Yeah, let's go for 14.
And you've got a good view of that roll rate I was talking about, 420 degrees in 1 second. It's a crisp handling machine, this. So coming back in for the last pass, give them away. The most amazing A330 with Bryce at the controls.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last pass from Bryce. This was the French Air Force aerobatic team freestyle display.
Well, a huge thank you to Bryce and Anthony. It was a pleasure having you here. We really hope you'll come back again. Do you do many shows in the UK?
Yes, we're going to be in...
It really stuck in your memory, that one, didn't it?
Yeah, we do.
From the rear, the Royal Air Force, Typhoon. Now watch as he keeps the crossing teeth into a double corkscrew. He's then going to roll the aircraft, pulling away straight. Nicely demonstrating that jet sliding as it rolls on its vectors. He comes back full reheat engaged, EJ200s, 42,000 pounds of thrust, speeding up to 400, 500, 600 miles an hour, pitches here into a loop. You can see that very distinctive canard wings at the front with the delta wings at the back. negative G. Horrible, horrible, horrible. All that blood just flowing. And then pull back on the stick into a loop. Corkscrew, pull the aircraft around and then into the corkscrew. Now a great photo opportunity coming up next with Nathan's manoeuvre. He's going to bring the aircraft around left to right, but he's going to put the controls into a negative knife edge turn. So watch as the aircraft pitches around. It's going to go side on, makes a great photo. Pitch the aircraft up, knife edge, and then a little bit of negative G as he pushes the aircraft up into an inverted climb to 3,500 feet. Now, get ready for the high-speed pass. Nathan's going to light the burners at the back, just under 700 miles an hour at 100 feet. Now we've seen the high-speed manoeuvres. We're going to go into a slow loop as Nathan slams the throttle down. He's going to have the power from those EJ200s to just power out of that slow-speed envelope. And watch as he pitches the aircraft up and just accelerates away. Very few jets have the ability to go from this slow speed all the way up with this speed. Remember, this is 25, 26 tons of aircraft. During this maneuver, he's got the weight of a Formula One car resting on his chest. Pitch up, hit the reheat, climb to 600 miles an hour, up to 10,000 feet. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for the Royal Air Force Typhoon Display 2025 and Squadron Leader Nathan Sawyer. I'd like to see you do that in a Rafale.